I'll dream until I make it real, and all I see is.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mentorship Mondays with Michelle and Maren, and we are back for another amazing session. We've missed you guys from last week, so it's good to be back. How's it going, Maren? It's good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you too, Michelle. Yes, thank you, everyone. I went on a little trip, a little getaway with my husband, and it was so nice. I think it's literally our first getaway since we've had kids 10 years ago. My oldest
Oh
is
my gosh,
10.
yeah.
So
It's definitely time.
it
Yeah.
was well overdue. Yes. And it was amazing, and it was so relaxing, and
Right.
um I very much enjoyed his company, so I'm looking forward to our empty nester years.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like when you're in your relationship and you're busy with life and kids, and then it's like this continuous coming back together as different people as our
Yeah.
kids change and as they grow. And we're really learning a lot about that now because our whole dynamic in our family is changing so much.
Oh, yes.
So,
Yeah.
it's very interesting.
Yeah. That's what it's like, we're just like in the thick of kids, and I'd always be like, what are we going to do when these kids are gone? Like, are we still going to know each other and like each other and want to be around each other,
Yeah,
because it's been
yeah,
so long.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so I think all signs are pointing to yes, so that's
That's
good.
good. That's very good. I was going to ask you, I saw on your Instagram this morning, I saw some pictures posted on there, and I read the caption. And do you have a fan in the background? Is there a fan going
Right. And
or
yeah, can you
something?
hear it? It's a heater. It's a heater.
Yeah,
Do I need to turn it off?
yeah, maybe just a little bit.
Okay, there we go. How's that?
Okay,
Is that better?
that's a little better.
Is that it? Okay.
I feel like I was yelling a little bit, and I don't know
Oh,
if it's my earphones or what it is, but that's better.
okay.
That's good.
Okay,
Hope you
good,
don't get a
good,
cold.
good.
So
It's a
no,
little
what
toasty. It'll be
it's a
okay.
little toasty. Okay. So yeah, I was looking on your Instagram and saw some pictures and caught some of your story. So I kind of have an idea of what happened, but please share with everybody that has not seen it on your Instagram what happened.
Okay, well, yeah, and check out my Instagram too to see the pictures. But I am so happy to report that I had a good hotel experience. I feel like all I do is get on and tell you about the like horrible spirits that
Yeah.
come and talk to me at these hotels.
Hmm.
Um, so this was a good one. And I laid in bed, I closed my eyes to go to sleep, and I saw a whole bunch of spirits standing under this tree. I have a oak tree that like I did like a, shaman journey to find my tree, and it was an oak tree. And so now every now and then like spirits will stand under my oak tree. And and this was not the oak tree. So I thought, oh, that's like really interesting. This is a different tree. And they were standing under the tree, and they were so like they were just had gratitude, and they had like so much like they were so stoic, and they were so like proud and like protective, and like they're just like the best energy, just grateful and loving, and like and they were all standing under this tree. And I just like remember like going to sleep thinking like, gosh, like the spirits here are so lovely. And like the next day, I even talked to my husband. I was like, gosh, the spirits here are so lovely. Like, I wonder if it's the ocean that, like, is like helping, I don't know, purify, cleanse. I don't think those are the right words, but like help,
Yeah.
because I could totally tell they were spirits and not like ghosts. Like, are there no ghosts here? Does like the
Right.
ocean help them like go to the other side? Like, what's going on? Because
Yeah.
there were so many of them, and every single one of their energies was amazing. So, so that was just my little theory until we decided to go check out the grounds of the hotel. And it's this beautiful like resort, and like kind of, it was big. So we went on like a little, and they have like little like nature trails you can follow in the hotel. So we went on this little nature trail, and then I saw it. It was the tree from my vision. It was a wishing tree. And taped up to the tree were all these little tags of all the wishes of all the people that have come to the tree. And it just like hit me, like the energy of the tree just hit me as well, and the vision and everything. And I was like, this is the spirits. They came to like acknowledge the tree and show that every wish, like how it energetically impacted them, and how they're so grateful for the wishes, and how there's so much love behind each wish. And it was just like the most powerful spiritual experience, because I really got to see how the energy of like that simple gesture and making us a wishing tree truly impacted all of these souls. And it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. So,
And do you feel so as you're speaking, and when I looked at the picture, you feel like all of the wishes are like prayers. They're prayers,
yes.
and I feel very positive, because it feels like very positive prayers, positive wishes, a lot of love. And do you feel that the spirits that you saw are a combination of spirits that are just drawn to that beautiful energy, and also family members, loved ones? I even feel angelic beings in there too, like a lot
Yeah.
of powerful love energy. It's like
Mhm.
you saw exactly what's happening when people put something out there, that they're
Yeah.
felt, they're I feel like some of the wishes are for other people, like that, and even those that have passed. Some of those wishes, I don't know if you got a chance to read any of them, but
Yeah, I some of them on my Instagram, and some of them are like, I hope, I don't remember the name, but it's like, I hope she's, living her best life in heaven, and she's,
uh
like, so I hope so and so's cancer is healed. And like these wishes, I wish one was like, I hope I can get my emotions in control so I can be a better leader. Like they were
mm,
like the most authentic, beautiful wishes. And yes, and they were all like high vibration, high love. It was just like, and there's this one woman that was like really in front of the tree. And but everybody, like there were so many people, and they were all just kind of like placed in this tree.
mhm,
And it's funny because even when I got the vision, I thought, like, is this a like a religious tree, or like, I got this
mm,
like, is this like a holy tree, or is this some kind of like, special tree? I didn't realize that it would be a wishing tree, but like you felt that tied to the tree too, about how
mhm,
now this
mhm.
tree has become such a powerful tree. It makes me think of like, church, when you light the candles at the
Yeah,
front, they'll have like the little like candles where you can make prayers for people.
yes,
And it's always such like a calm, peaceful, like heavy, but in a good way, like a
strong.
love heavy, strong, yes. And that's the way that this tree was. And yeah, it was just so powerful. And it's so, I just think it goes to intention too, right? Like you
Yes,
don't have to be in a church lighting the candle. Good intentions come in so many different forms. That's why so many different cultures have adapted all these different like religious traditions, because it truly is about the intent. There's not
mm,
one tradition that is the right way, because the energy ties are so strong to the
yes,
intent.
that's right.
It was
Absolutely.
beautiful. Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
amazing. That
It
really is
wasn't
beautiful.
It really was, and I just wanted to stay there forever. It was just so like, I don't know. It was really cool. And I thought, gosh, for a hotel, like who are these people? This is amazing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what a cool hotel to put a wishing tree in their
Yes,
hotel. Like,
yes.
what a,
And that tree feels like a sacred guardian. like a
Yes.
guardian, you know,
Yes. That's
carrying all this emotion, supporting it.
yes. Yes. It's so funny. I read this book called The Wishing Tree with my son,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like personifies the tree. And so it's like taken from the perspective of the tree. And that's the way the tree feels, is that she's like a guardian of all these wishes. And I do feel like that's like kind of like when especially even that woman, like I just felt like she was the guardian, like just the way she stood and like her
Yeah.
energy, like I just felt like she, you know,
Mm.
I don't know. There was so much power in a good
Yeah.
way from
Yeah.
the image. So that
That's
was really
amazing.
cool. That was,
Hmm.
you know, the spirit world never goes on vacation with me. So I was very pleasantly surprised that it was a really good experience.
Yeah, that you didn't have like our Halloween show. That
Yes.
that I still that was something else. That was something else. But it's been like um well, we haven't seen each other for a couple weeks, and a lot has happened energetically in the past couple weeks. Um we were talking just before we popped on, you and I were talking, and I saw this video come up of this guy that was talking about the Schumann resonance, and he was not one that was familiar with it, but he was just asking questions, and he says, I don't know if it's just me, but is anybody else noticing the Schumann resonance? And it's matching some of this energy that's going on. He says, like the election. He goes, did you see the energy around the election? And what popped in my head when I watched that was just validation for a lot of what spirit has been saying through different sessions and my own channeling about the change that's taking place and how we're really noticing, and we will notice it so much more. We are noticing this popping up of people starting to question, people starting to piece things together. And I'm speaking of maybe folks that were not aware previously, that are waking up, that are starting to say, wait a minute here. Or as I like to say, wait a minute here. Something looks weird. Something looks connected here. What is that? You know, so those questions that are coming up is really a sign of what's happening. And now I'm not in the US, so I don't have, I mean, I can definitely feel the energy, and I've had sessions with many people on, you know, both sides of the fence, seeing it from a higher perspective all over the place. And I know that the energy has been intense, very intense. But what's your perspective of how it's felt being in the US? How do you feel with everything?
Well, it's definitely been very contentious. I think everybody that watches this knows I don't watch the news, so I'm not watching like typical news channels where I feel like it probably is at a fever pitch, you know.
Same, yeah.
And thank goodness my algorithms know who I am, and so they only send me spiritual stuff. Um, so I am only getting like little minute bits and
Yeah,
pieces of
yeah.
the contention, and it's pretty contentious. I think yeah, you're either super excited or you're very, very, very upset about um the change and the possible our possible future. But um I just think that we have to realize that change is inevitable. That's like the only certainty in life, is that change will happen. And we have to use, you know, what we've been taught through our spiritual journey of how to handle change. Um, and so I thought maybe we could talk about that today, about how we
Hmm.
can better handle this change. And whether you're excited for the change or you're worried for the change, understanding other people's perspectives is really important. And understanding that no matter what, the sun will still come up, and we will still, have another day, and and to see the good in the change too. Like, I know you had a channeling and you were forecasting some like really positive changes for humanity. So I'm very
Hmm.
excited for you to talk about that with us. Um,
Yeah.
I'm going to go
Um,
into that right.
yeah, I'd love to share that. So this was, uh, so I do like channel with my higher self, and I'll bring through some information and ask some questions about the current energy. And that is that's what I love to do, is kind of doing a feel of the energy and the forecast of it. And what came through was very exciting. And so here's some of the things that came through. Now, I want to preface this with everything that is coming in, and everything, and we've talked about this so many times, polarity is part of the human experience.
Yes.
So where there is something really exciting, there's going to be challenge, right?
Yeah.
But we get to choose. The power is within us to choose how we want to frame things
Yeah.
and how we allow that into our experience. So here's some of the highlights of what came through. One thing that came through that I thought was very exciting is about the technology, about medicine, alternative medicine, and also about being in the decade of science, connecting to the importance of what's happening in the mind and the emotions connected to the body. So we're going to start to hear more conversations in the scientific community, and not just the fringe scientific community, but
Real.
right out there. We're going to hear
Um,
more in the terms of frequency and vibration, and
wow.
understanding the importance of that. So these pieces, and look for the signs of that, because it's all around us, whether it's in conversations at, you could be in a doctor's office or be in a school, and you'll hear somebody mention things in a way that's positioned differently.
I just did. That is so funny that you said that. I was listening to this podcast with a dentist,
Yeah.
and the dentist was like, I feel like doctors like learn their specialty and they only learn their little specialty. And like, I feel like, and even with speech, it's like they tell you your little specialty and then they're like, and this, like one slide, it's like, and here's how it impacts this, and it's like one slide of one day of one, and so she was a dentist and only focusing on the mouth. And then she started to like wonder how the bacteria of the mouth travels to the different parts of the body. And now all of a sudden she's a holistic dentist and she's understanding how things that happen in the mouth can impact the brain and the heart and like I think even the breast tissue or like different tissues throughout the body. And it was fascinating. And I'm like, man, if we can get to a place where doctors are not like separatists and studying
Yes.
their separate, um, thing, and they can like talk and collaborate and acknowledge that the body is a holistic body and being, we're going to be in good shape for the future.
Yes. Yes.
I,
And
I agree. We're like on the precipice of that.
we really are. And that's a perfect example. And everybody listen for it, look for it, because
Mhm.
it's very exciting seeing everything coming together, tied together, because as a collective, that's where we're headed. We're headed to a place of learning that we have the ability to treat the entire system within us through our mental state, our emotional state, our energetic, our spiritual, that we have been put in a system for a very long time where everything was separate. We learn about everything separately. And I love what you said earlier when you were talking about the third eye, when you and I were talking ourselves, and
Oh, yeah.
you said about how you know that your third eye is open when you're able to start to see the bigger picture. So your third eye is opening, because if the third eye is closed, your consciousness is, you know, can be very focused on what's happening here now around and in front of you. And as the third eye expands, you're able to see the bigger picture and the connection, and
Mhm.
able to see how everything supports each other and works together. And so when you're working in one area of your life, you're actually improving other areas over here too. And
Mhm.
then when you get over to that area, you're affecting another area. Like everything all works together. That is extremely exciting for humanity. And
Right.
we will see the
So good
progression
dental
of this.
hygiene, right?
Well, big time. Yes. Yes. Good dental
That was
hygiene.
the moral of her story, was that your ability to
Yeah.
floss and take care of your teeth impacts
Yeah.
your entire body. So
Impacts your entire body. So, some other things too, and I'm sure many that are watching or listening to the podcast and watching the show may have the information that there has been some very interesting announcements again about UFOs, UAPs, whatever we want to call them. And can you share what that they interviewed the gentleman that we had talked about before that you were listening to, of what
yeah.
his statement, what was the statement that he
Okay.
said?
Okay, so yeah, so this is like very exciting too, because I listened to a very mainstream podcast, and they had a guy that wrote a book. Worked for the Pentagon, and he was in charge of all the UAP sightings, and he was in charge of investigating those sightings. And now he's written a book, and I really want to say his name, so hold on. Um, his name is Luis Elizondo.
Mm-hmm.
Luis Elizondo. And anyways, so the host is like, are they real? And he's like, well, that's not a question anymore. Like, everyone knows they're real. We have countless pieces of evidence to prove that UAPs are real. And and he was like, okay. And I just love this guy because he's so scientific. He's like, we have this, the document, we have this sighting and this sighting and this sighting. And I also thought too, one thing that was so interesting, they're like, oh, the government's covering it up, the government's covering it up. And so one of the questions he asked was, well, why is the government not, I guess there's like, he said when he first started, there were like 200 sightings. And like, he'd be like, oh my God, I just got to like work through these 200 sightings and then I'll be done. But then the next year there'd be like 300 sightings. And like, I think it like worked up to like 800 sightings or something like that a year. And, but he's like, well, why isn't the government releasing these? And he goes, well, it's not that the government doesn't want you to see the UFO sightings. The government doesn't want you to know where they might have captured the UFO sightings. Are we like on a secret mission in some territory we're not supposed to be, or he's like, we don't want you to see the technology that we captured the UFOs on. We don't want people to know that we have that technology. And a lot of the UFO sightings that are the really good sightings are on classified technology. So you're not so he's like, the public is not getting the best of the best when it comes to the UFO sightings. Like, there's,
Mm-hmm.
really compelling evidence out
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really interesting. And then the interviewer was like, well, why are they coming to us now? And he was like, oh, you've got to open up your mind. He's like, how do you know that they're just coming to us now? How do you know they haven't always already been here? And I just love that, because so many like UFO theory people have always talked about how, or like ancient alien theorists have always talked about how they've helped us in the past. And mainstream science is, saying like, no, there's no way that they could, have been here in the past. And here this guy who is a ex-Pentagon official is saying, you know, we don't know, they're in the ocean, they're everywhere. Like, how do you know they just haven't been here the whole time? And we didn't have the technology to capture it until now. And he like brought up like bacteria. Like, I guess we discovered bacteria like in the 30s or something like that, you know. And but yet bacteria is the most like ancient form of life we have on this planet. So I thought that was super fascinating. So
I love what he said. I love what he said. It was we're no longer asking what was it? How did he say it?
oh yeah, like we're no longer asking if there are UFO sightings. Like it is 100% documented. Like we have scientific evidence of UFO sightings. That's not in question anymore. We might be questioning where do they come from? But we're not, or how does their technology work? But we're not questioning whether or not there are UFOs.
Yeah.
So that's big
And that
news.
it's very big news. And there is there's a thought in the energy that there are some people that are not trusting what's coming out, and that maybe it's a distraction. Well, there could be all kinds of different reasons why it comes out the way it does, but I will tell you, feeling the energy and what's come through me through channeling is this is part of the process, is bringing this out in that direction. And there is a lot of evidence that's going to start to trickle into the mainstream. And we're in that time now. Now, we're also in a time where planetarily, so the position of the planets, there's a gateway right now where there's an increase of paranormal activity, and that includes alien ET encounters, sightings, paranormal experiences. And it's funny because every time I say paranormal, I just want to say normal. It's normal. It is multi-dimensional experiences, right? So it's exciting for me to hear this because it is now coming into our reality in these bits and pieces in the mainstream. And it's just, it's a very good thing. Now, mind you, in talking about the election and talking about a lot of the things that we are seeing in front of us, because we're literally watching systems break apart. We are watching change, feeling change. A lot of these big systems that have corruption in them, we have to remember that when we're viewing and we're watching from mainstream media, that we're not, and many of us already know this, but just for the sake of saying, we're not seeing everything as it actually is. We're not seeing things as portrayed as the truth, even as we're being given different situations, or we're being given stories about, certain figures. Not everything is exactly as it seems. But what I will say is that we talked about this in our show a couple weeks ago, about there being change, about there being rebalancing. And that's what's happening, is it's rebalancing. So you might view things and say, well, there's no way rebalancing is happening with the way this is or the way this situation is. And so remember that something may look a certain way, but when we understand energy, we understand that there is a process to how everything is happening. And just like with our body, just like with everything being connected, everything is like that. Everything is connected. And so the analogy that I was given in the channeling was like a string, a thread being pulled. And a thread's pulled over here and it affects something over here. And the thread's pulled over here and affects something over here. And so we're going to see things that we maybe didn't expect. The rebalancing is also a truth coming to the surface. And that truth may be some things that are very difficult for us to digest. Some of the truth may bring up feelings of fear, but we have to remember, view things from the bigger picture and understand that even the bringing up the energy of fear in the collective is to bring it up in front of our faces so that we can make choices. And so what my higher self brought through was, let's see if I can remember how it was worded. When we're being faced with any situation or any circumstance that brings us a truth or a connection to an emotion, brings us to a fear where what we're viewing on the outside of us may seem like it's dictating the downfall or dictating the world falling apart, we must understand that the power is within us. Each and every individual is part of this collective. And so when we choose fear, when we choose to believe that bad things are happening, that is where the focus of our energy is putting that power. If we have difficulty accepting what is taking place, your best position to take is neutrality, to hold a space of neutrality, meaning bring yourself back, come back inside to yourself and neutralize the energy. What do I have control of? I do not have control of what's happening out here, but I have control of what's happening in here. And if that means shutting off the news, if that means going outside for a walk and collecting ourselves, creating a neutral space, and being very aware of the energies around us that can pull us all over the place. And I'll always follow that with, that's why knowing ourselves and where we are at and understanding that the power does come within us, because why? We are reflections of God, of Source. We embody that energy here in the physical. And so by doing that, we are connected to the whole. We are connected to everything. And so we emit that energy of that balance, of rebalancing that fear. And of course, on the other side of things, if something is coming up in you, because there's a lot that is changing, if something is coming up, well, that shows you exactly where your healing work is. When you have a strong reaction, when you have fear that's coming up that's so intense, it is that right there where it is an opportunity for us to take blame off of whatever the outside situation is and understand why we're affected by this, or what does this bring up in us, which gives us an opportunity to help bring more peace into our experience rather than allow the experiences around us to drag us around. So, like you say, Maren, change is inevitable. It's happening. It's always happened. It's happening now. It's going to continue to happen.
Yeah.
We cannot stop change. And truly, that's a beautiful thing if we allow it to be.
And I think taking the perspective too that things happen for us, not to us, right?
Yeah.
So why is this happening for me? Why is this happening for me? Is if something that you should ask yourself.
Yes. And what is this teaching me?
What is this teaching me?
A very powerful a powerful lesson or powerful way to help instill confidence in ourselves and help strengthen the foundation within ourselves is to look at everything to what am I learning from this? What did I learn from this? What did it gift me in understanding? What did it help me see things from another viewpoint? The experiences and the changes and the circumstances that are happening within and around our lives are all teachers. They're all.
I think too, when we feel like there's so much chaos that is outside of our control, right? There's so much fear and chaos and that's outside of our control. We had control. We had our one vote and we cast it how we could, and now there's all this change, and it is, there's a lot going on, and you kind of feel out of control. And so then, like you said, Michelle, like you have to kind of go within, not kind of, you go within,
Yeah.
and find your personal power. So what is this teaching me, and what personal power will this lead and help grow inside of me? I think is a really important thing. And I think, and that's why I said, like, the sun will come up, like, because when you realize that all this chaos, this is what spirituality is. Like, and you say this like 1,000 times. It's like, when you go on your spiritual journey, it's not like you're going to have this like easy breezy life and nothing's ever going to happen to you again. And they say this with mindfulness too. It's not like things aren't going to happen to you once you like choose this path. Things always happen. There's always change. Change is inevitable. But when you can use these tools, such as going within, knowing everything that you have and need is right inside of you, and hunkering down and figuring out the lessons and things and how you can grow as a person and how it can change your mindset, or how you can expand your third eye, that's where you bloom, and that's where you grow, and that's where change doesn't become so scary anymore. Because you figure out where you have the control, and it's within you, and the change is within you. And I feel like that's, kind of why we chose to come to Earth, is to grow. And so, you're not gonna make changes in growth if you're just living, comfy. And I have
That's
a
right.
exercise instructor that says, after every hill, there's a heaven. So, you just go up that hill and you'll find your heaven.
And with everything that's going on around us, when things get so chaotic and we are like, I don't know which way to turn, I don't know which way to go, that is because we need to go inside. There's too much going on around, and it doesn't feel good because it's conflicting energy and it's not truly what is in here. And so being able to go inside is like, well, maybe all these things are happening. Maybe I'm in this position where I feel lonely, or I'm not connected to the outside world right now. Is that happening to give you the opportunity to go inside? Listen to the thoughts that you're having. Are your thoughts saying, I can't take this anymore? I can't do this anymore? Because if that's coming out of you, there's a resistance, and it's a resistance of being still in a state of acceptance, of maybe accepting whatever the circumstances are currently, and being able to go inside and hear your own voice, to hear your own guidance. And that is so important, because when that is resisted, and that is the consistency, that's the work. Because like you're just saying, the spiritual path is not an easy breezy walk. And it may look that way to someone on the outside if they're viewing and they're like, oh, why is this person always jumping through their problems and having no, it takes time, and it is something that only each and every individual can do for themselves. At the end of the day, you can get as much information and guidance as you want from channels, mediums, podcasts, us, hopefully. But you can get all of that. But at the end of the day, the consistency and the choice to sit with yourself without distraction and figure out where you're at and what do you believe. And again, where are you not being authentic in your life, to be able to quieten everything down. That is the only job that a person can do to begin to solidify an energy of empowerment, of confidence that is real. Because anyone can pretend to be gliding through life when there's certain circumstances that they're like, I did many times in the past. I'm good, I'm happy, I'm well, all is well, this is no big deal. But inside, I was falling apart. Inside, I didn't know what to do. I was conflicted, I was tired, I was depressed, right? So it's so important that we take these opportunities to say, if I can't take it anymore, if I can't take this situation, I can't take this world, well, your one and only responsibility is to quieten all that down and continue to keep going inside, because nobody else can do that work for us. And that is the key to being able to learn about flow and being able to understand that as we do that, that's the real stuff. So our vibration will increase, it will rise, and it won't rise as situational as to what's going on in the world. It allows us to rise, to open up the third eye, to have more clarity, and to hear our own guidance, to have our own guidance system, so we are no longer feeling pulled all over the place, so that life in its polarity, in its ups and downs, and all the things that happen, they're an experience. They are sometimes difficult, sometimes easy, but we have the tools, we have the strength, we have the resources, we have the knowing, we have the guidance. And that is forever when you're consistent with it, so that we can experience all of life and get joy out of everything, even the things that we once perceived as impossible to ever feel joy through, what we perceived as negative.
I think too, people from the United States, we take a lot of pride in saying we the people, and that the United States is made up of all these people. And just like that tree, the tree became so powerful by every one little wish of high energy and love. The United States becomes powerful when each person chooses the high vibration and the love, and then we join together and we become united. So no pun intended there, but sorry, that was so cheesy and I didn't mean for it to be. But
Yeah.
yeah, sorry. Anyways, so I know it's just so cheesy I can't move past it.
Oh,
Um,
Maren, you're the best.
but it's so true. So just like we the people, like just it's your choice. It's your decision. We make up the country. No matter what, who's leading it or what or how you felt about the election, it truly is
Mm-hmm.
individuals who make the change,
And
just
I
like the
just
tree.
had a little idea come in too. Why couldn't we all have our own wishing tree? Why couldn't we pick, and if we don't have a property that has trees, do we have a plant? Do we have something that we can make our wishing tree? And to use that, to put our prayers, to put our wishes, to write it on a tag on a piece of paper and hang it on something, hang it on a representation of a tree, whatever you have, to be able to do that and take that energy of what you wish to see in the world and hang it on your tree. Hang it instead of looking at the things that are like, oh, that's not good. That's going to take us to this. And then this is going to happen. Then this is going to happen. Well, why not put the wish of, I wish for this to happen. I wish for, take that as an opportunity, because I think, and I wonder what you think about this, Maren, but I think that experience that you had was gifting all of us another glimpse into how important our intentions are and how powerful they are. And that sharing that with us is a way to reinvigorate all of us to be able to really think about what it is that we want and to know that that's being listened to, that that's heard, and that it has substance to it. So I'm thinking
I
in the back
totally
of my
agree.
mind, where is my wishing tree going to be? Which tree?
Yeah. Or look, I've got this little tree. This could be my little wishing tree. I've got a little crystal tree.
Oh
I know
yeah,
a lot of
I do too. I have a crystal tree too.
I know a lot of people do that with like altars and stuff too, right? You're kind of you're manifesting. And so
Mm-hmm.
writing down your manifestations, just keeping
Yeah.
everything high vibe,
Yes.
right? If when you're fearing it, it's low vibe. And I truly stand behind what I said is that when you keep your individual contribution high vibe, we
Yes.
will all unite and and the future is not set, you know?
It,
And
it's
if we
not.
could all get on the same page with just high energy, no fear, we will
Yes.
move mountains. It will be a great day. So
Yes. Yeah. I completely agree. I think what we should do is let's do with all of the changes coming up, let's do a pick card, pull a card for all of us. And the intention, what should we set for the intention? Um how how this chapter that we're in now, how and what do we need to focus on for the changes ahead? Would that be the right way to word it?
so like what do we need to do for the change? Is that what you're saying? Like like what we need to do to embrace the change? Is that what you're saying? Or how will the change impact us? Or
Yeah.
what?
What is coming up for each of us and how the energy will impact us, or and I'll take it a step further, because this is a group of us, for our collective that's watching, because it's a group of us. I'll pick two piles of cards, pile one and pile two. I haven't decided which pile I'm going to pick, but I'll pick one of these here. And whatever comes out for it, remember there's going to be things that will stand out to you. And when these thoughts come in your mind, the first thoughts that you get, the feelings that you get, that is the direction. So it is,
What about what about like the when we were talking about going within and what is the change teaching you?
that's a good
Is
one.
that would be a really good one. Like what is the change teaching me? Because I feel like sometimes it's really hard to like figure out what you're supposed to be learning from the change, you know? You're just kind of stuck in the like resentment. And so
Yes.
to or the I'm right.
Yes,
What do I need to change, you know? So
that's right. That's a really good point too, is that um how teachable are you, right?
yeah. Yeah.
So when it's always their fault, they did it to me, they caused this is why I'm experiencing this. So sure, it doesn't mean that other people don't have some responsibility in what we experience, because that's part of the collective experience, but it always comes back to, what's our part? What's our part in this? And what do we need to reflect on? And what do we need to change in our behaviors or our physical circumstances or whatever that may be. So thank you, Maren, for helping me pull that all out of my head.
You're welcome.
Okay, so
At least that's
I've
what I want to know.
yeah, I've got 2 decks, and I'm actually, so for number 1 and number 2, I'm going to
Okay.
pull a card and a lesson card with each one. So 2 cards
Okay.
for each pile. So all you
Okay.
have to each think in your minds is whether you would like number 1 or number 2. So you
Okay.
just decide while I'm shuffling number 1 or number 2, and I'll just give this one another little shuffle. Okay. So we'll do number 1. I knew that card was coming out. I saw it in my head right back when I said, let's pick a card. I saw that card and I knew that somebody was going to be getting that card. Okay. Okay. So for number 1, we've got the card of entrapment. Whoops. Let me get it here. Entrapment. And so if you can see the card, there's a woman that's laying on looks like a bed with a man with a mask. And I can't remember what we call those masks. There's a name for that.
I don't know.
I can't remember. It's it, it's funny because Marcus was watching a show and a man had that mask on, and Marcus asked me yesterday, "What's that mask? What is it for?" And yeah, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, the card that goes with that is honesty. So if you picked number 1, here is what I'm picking up from this is that something is stopping you from moving forward. Something, whether it is self-sabotage, a situation, any kind of circumstance, whether it's in your life or a perspective on something on the outside of you. What this is asking you right now is to get very honest with yourself. Get very honest with yourself and with others as to what is really holding me back. What is really making me feel this way? If I'm in a situation, if I'm in a relationship, a circumstance, a feeling that I'm having difficulty moving past, it is that thing that I can work through to be able to bring me into a place where I feel a sense of freedom. And getting honest, getting vulnerable is a way to be able to do that. Because is there, like we were just saying, is there a responsibility? Is there some responsibility within myself that I need to look at to be able to make a change? Am I existing in a thought, a behavior, a belief because it's easier, because it is possibly filling a need that I've outgrown, that I no longer need anymore? And so by being able to look at that and look at that honesty and to be able to look at the circumstance, maybe I need to drop that belief, drop that pattern. Maybe I need to make a change or make a change in that direction so that I can experience my vibration increasing. So I can experience more of the flow and rather less of this. Because I know that this is how a lot of people are feeling right now, where they know that there's something on the other side of a situation, but they do not know, how do I get out of this? How do I get out of this cycle? And so this gentleman up here with the mask is a metaphor, whether it is self-imposed or it's a circumstance that we've been in. And for a lot of us, it's a cycle that we've been in for a very long time. And as we say, everything is rebalancing. So there is a truth that needs to come to light. And that's what this energy is helping right now. It's helping the truth come to light so that we can clearly see what it is that we need to do. Do you have anything to add to that, Maren?
No, I see kind of like what you're seeing too is almost like being stuck in that victim mentality and it's serving some purpose. And so you're staying there. So be honest about what is keeping you in that cycle.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. So that's interesting. Okay, so for number 2, and shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Okay, that one came in my head too. That's crazy. As I was shuffling, I knew which one was going to come out, and I was like, if it's going to be that one, that's hilarious. It's
The
almost
force
too
is
funny.
strong
The
today.
the force is strong today. It is flowing. Okay. Well, I like this one. Change. That's when I was laughing at because I saw that one popping out. And discover your life purpose. So, for those that picked number 2, this is what the energy is all about for you right now. Is further discovery on yourself, the direction that you're going. You may already be on your path and know the direction that you're going, but maybe this is a validation to let you know that what you're doing is going in the right direction. The change as well is whatever is occurring right now in your life, either the changes that are currently happening or about to happen are actually helping you be in this place. So if what you're perceiving and what you're experiencing feels like it is not what should be happening, or that you're being thrown off of what you believe where you should be. And I will mention, because I do read when things are in reversal, when the change card is upright, for me, that is positive change. And it is also asking you to look at the changes in a positive light and to not allow the fears of what you think could happen or could go wrong, or things from the past that says, well, this hasn't worked before, or, this is not, I can't see how this will ever give me the outcome that I'm hoping for. This is asking you to put positivity and optimism into what you're experiencing, even if it does not look that way. And this is also highlighting the sacral chakra with creativity. And so I feel that those that have this one, pick this pile. This is connected to a lot of creativity. And of course, discovering your life purpose is pretty self-explanatory. Is where you headed, because the rebalancing that's taking place in the world right now is setting everyone up, especially those that are of service in some way, whether it's to your family, your community, to the collective, to humanity, whatever it is, it's setting you up in alignment to bring out what you do naturally, what is creative, the talent, what is built within you, the nurturing, whatever it is that you do, it's to bring them together so that you can get on with this. So there we go.
I love that. Yes, what I got from that was simmer down. The change is for your highest good. So
Yes.
just, you're
Simmer
good.
down. Simmer down
Simmer
now.
down.
Simmer
Yeah.
down.
I
Wow.
love it. Thank you, Michelle. You are forever the greatest card reader. I don't know how you get all that from that. Like I see it once you say it, but it's like I would be like, oh, there's a girl on bed.
It's
So
it's
I
fun.
love it.
It's fun. I've always played with cards. It's fun.
Yeah, I love it. Well,
All right.
thank you so much. It was so
Thank
good
you.
to be with everyone again this
Yeah,
week.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
you, Michelle, as
And you,
always.
my Maren, as always.
Michelle, I know I love it. I was like, you're
I saw that. I saw that. I was like, it was so weird being by myself, and I'm like, do I remember how to talk on the camera by myself? I'm like, sure I do, but I really miss my Maren. Yeah. All right.
yes. All right, everyone, have a great week.
Have a
Embrace the
fantastic week.
change. Go within. Everything you have and need is right inside of you. So just take a deep breath and look forward to that. Honestly, I think great changes. I'm very excited, like you said, about the rebalancing of the energies. So I'm very excited and hopeful for our future.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. All
yeah.
right. All
All
right,
right, we will see
everybody.
you next
See you next
week.
week. Bye.